All right, today we're cracking open the actual blueprint for one of the most fascinating financial products out there, Sukuk. We're going to see exactly how a handful of legal documents can take a core principle and turn it into a massive, globally trusted investment.
So that really brings us to the central puzzle, right? How in the world do you build a financial product that can operate on a global scale, earn the trust of millions of people, and, this is the key part, never ever bend on its core ethical principles?
Well, the answer really lies in the architecture. Every solid building starts with a super detailed blueprint. For Sukuk, that blueprint is its package of legal documents. This is what makes sure everything, transparency, security, integrity, is built right in from the ground up.
Okay, so before we even lay the first brick, it's absolutely crucial to get this. This blueprint isn't just about clever financial engineering. Nope, it's about building a structure that, at its very core, is completely Sharia compliant. Every single document we're about to look at serves that dual purpose.
All right, let's dive right into the foundation phase. These are the documents that literally build the secure legal structure. Think of it like the vessel that's going to hold and protect the main asset. So there are three key documents that make up this initial foundation. You can think of them as the master plan, the legal framework that says who owns what, and the actual title deed for the asset. Let's break each one down. First up, you've got the prospectus. This is the big one, the master document. It gives any potential investor a completely transparent look at, well, everything. How the whole thing is structured, what the risks are, exactly how their money's going to be used, the whole shebang. It's all about making sure you know what you're getting into.
Now, the trust deed. The most important point here is security. This document creates a special legal entity. It's often called an SPV, and its only job is to hold the asset in trust for you, the investors. This is what ring fences the asset. That means it's legally separated and totally protected from anything else, all for your benefit. And rounding out the foundation is the asset purchase agreement. This is basically the official bill of sale. It's the contract that spells out the transfer of the asset into that SPV we just talked about. It locks in the price, the terms, and it's the final proof that ownership is officially in place to back the whole investment.
All right, so the foundation is poured, the structure is legally built, and the asset is securely in place. Now we've got to flip the switch and make it operational. These next documents are what bring the investment to life and, actually start generating those returns.
Right at the heart of the operational phase is the lease agreement, or the Ijarah. This thing is the engine of the entire investment. It's the contract that leases the asset out to create that steady flow of rental income. And it defines everything down to the last detail. The rent, the term, how the asset can be used, who's responsible for what, it's all in there.
And check this out. Here's a perfect example of just how detailed we're talking. The lease agreement clearly splits up the maintenance duties to make sure it's fair. Any major, essential maintenance, that's on the asset owner, so the investors. But the minor, day-to-day operational stuff, that falls to the person leasing it. It's exactly this kind of clarity that stops arguments before they can even start.
But of course, the investors can't be there managing the asset themselves, right? That's where the servicing agency agreement comes in. This document appoints a professional agent to handle all the daily grind, collecting rent, organizing maintenance, and sending out regular reports. They're the ones who make sure that investment engine keeps running smoothly.
Okay, every well-designed structure needs safety valves. So now, let's look at the really critical documents that are all about managing risk, protecting your capital, and making sure there's a clear exit path for investors when it's all said and done.
This one is maybe one of the most important safety nets of all, the purchase undertaking. Think of it as an ironclad, legally binding promise. The original seller of the asset promises to buy it back at a price that's already been agreed upon when the sukuk matures. This is your defined exit strategy, and it's designed to make sure you get your principal investment back.
But what about the unexpected? What if the asset itself, let's say it's a building, is just gone, totally destroyed in a fire or something? Is all that money just lost?
Nope, not at all. A good blueprint always has a backup plan. The answer is actually built right into that lease agreement we talked about earlier. There are specific clauses in there that require full insurance, or its Islamic equivalent, takaful, to cover the asset against a total loss, so the investor's capital is protected.
Okay, another really common question for any investor. What happens if the rent payments are late? How do you enforce the rules?
And the answer here is pretty brilliant.
because it perfectly shows how financial discipline and ethical principles can work together. So yes, there are penalties for late payments to make sure people pay on time, but, and this is the cool part, that money doesn't go to the investors as extra profit. That would go against Islamic finance principles. Instead, those penalty funds are donated to charity. So you enforce the contract, but you stay true to the ethics.
So, let's recap. We've built the structure, we've turned it on, and we've installed all the safety features. Now it's time for the final, most crucial step, getting that ultimate seal of approval that confirms the integrity of the entire blueprint.
And that is the Sharia Board Certificate. Before a single dollar is invested, a board of highly respected Sharia scholars goes through every single document, every clause, and the entire structure with a fine-tooth comb. They then issue a certificate, or a fatwa, that confirms the whole thing is 100% compliant with Islamic principles. This is really the ultimate layer of trust and confidence for investors.
So as you can see, no single document does the job by itself. They all interlock, like puzzle pieces, to create one complete architectural blueprint. You go from the initial prospectus, to the operational lease, to the safety nets, and it's all capped off by that final ethical seal of approval. It all works together to create this one cohesive system that's just built on transparency and trust.
And that really leaves us with a big final thought, doesn't it? In a world that's asking for more and more transparency in ethics and finance, you have to wonder, could this kind of meticulously documented, principle-based blueprint, where every single risk and responsibility is spelled out from day one, could this be a model for the future of all global finance?